Oh my God, we're floating! Help me! Somebody help!
Imagine waking up tomorrow, and gravity suddenly disappears. Not forever. Just 5 seconds. Sounds harmless, right? After all, what could possibly happen in only 5 seconds? But those few seconds would be enough to destroy civilizations, erase entire cities, and permanently change life on Earth forever. Because gravity is not just what keeps your feet on the ground. It controls almost everything around you. The air you breathe, the oceans, the atmosphere, the moon, even the movement of your blood inside your body. Gravity is the invisible force quietly holding our entire world together every second of every day, and without it, Earth would instantly become chaos. At first, you probably wouldn't understand what was happening. You would simply feel lighter. Then suddenly, objects around you would begin floating upward. Your phone, your chair, dust in the air, drops of water escaping from a glass. People would slowly lift from the ground in confusion and panic. Cars would drift upward. Animals would float helplessly into the sky. For one brief moment, it might almost feel beautiful, like a strange dream. Children laughing as they rise into the air. Objects floating silently through rooms. Coffee turning into perfect spheres of liquid suspended in space. But that feeling would disappear almost instantly, because gravity doesn't only hold people down, it also holds the entire atmosphere to Earth. Without gravity, the air itself would begin escaping into space. The pressure around you would change rapidly. Powerful winds would erupt across cities as Earth's atmosphere starts collapsing upward. Breathing would become difficult. Panic would spread everywhere. People would desperately grab onto anything connected to the ground. Streetlights, cars, trees, buildings. But many structures themselves would already be breaking apart, because buildings are designed to work with gravity, not without it. Massive bridges would begin twisting unnaturally. Glass windows would explode outward. Concrete would crack under forces engineers never prepared for. And then, the oceans would begin to rise, not as waves, not as tides. Entire oceans lifting upward into the sky. Trillions of tons of water escaping Earth's surface. Coastlines would vanish beneath gigantic floating walls of water. Ships would drift helplessly upward. Ports and harbors would collapse instantly. If you were near the ocean, your chances of survival would be almost zero. And this would all happen within the first few seconds, before most people even realized what was truly happening.
But the most terrifying part might not be floating upward. It would be momentum. Right now, Earth is spinning at incredible speed. Near the equator, our planet rotates at nearly 1,670 kilometers per hour. Normally, gravity keeps us attached safely to the surface while Earth spins beneath us. But without gravity, that protection disappears instantly. Your body would continue moving sideways at enormous speed, depending on where you are on Earth. You could be violently thrown across the ground like debris inside a tornado. Cars would fly uncontrollably through cities. Glass, metal, and concrete would become deadly projectiles. Entire buildings could collapse as their foundations lose stability. Streets would transform into storms of destruction. And then there are airplanes. Thousands of aircraft are flying above Earth at every moment. Without gravity, pilots would instantly lose control. Inside the cabin, passengers would float violently upward while luggage, food carts, and heavy equipment crash around them. The airflow surrounding the plane would become unstable. Engines could fail. Wings could lose lift. Some aircraft might begin tumbling uncontrollably through the atmosphere. Others could break apart entirely. And if that wasn't terrifying enough, space itself would begin changing. Because gravity is also what keeps the moon orbiting Earth. If gravity vanished completely, even for only 5 seconds, the moon would drift slightly from its normal path. At first, the change might seem tiny, but over time, even small orbital changes can create massive consequences. Ocean tides could permanently shift. Climate systems might become unstable. Earth's own orbit around the sun could slightly change, and that tiny difference could affect seasons, temperatures, and weather patterns for centuries. But here's what makes this scenario truly horrifying: the return of gravity. Because after 5 seconds, everything floating above Earth comes crashing back down. Cars, airplanes, buildings, people, entire oceans all falling toward Earth at once. The impacts alone would destroy entire countries. Cities would disappear beneath collapsing debris and floods of returning seawater. Shock waves would spread across continents. Dust clouds would rise into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight. Power systems would fail. Communication networks would collapse. Fires would spread uncontrollably across the planet, and millions of survivors, if any remained, would witness a world transformed forever. But what exactly is gravity, and why is it so important? For thousands of years, humans didn't fully understand it. People simply accepted gravity as a normal part of life. Things fall downward. Planets move through space. The moon orbits Earth. But in the 1600s, Isaac Newton changed everything. According to the famous story, Newton watched an apple fall from a tree and began asking a simple question: why do things always fall downward? That question eventually led to one of the most important scientific discoveries in history. Newton realized that gravity is a force pulling objects toward each other. The larger an object is, the stronger its gravitational pull becomes. Earth is massive. That's why everything around us is constantly being pulled toward the planet's center. But centuries later, Albert Einstein discovered something even stranger. Gravity might not actually be a force at all. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, mass bends space-time itself. Imagine placing a heavy bowling ball on a stretched blanket. The blanket bends downward. Then smaller balls placed nearby naturally roll toward it. That's similar to how planets, stars, and black holes bend the fabric of space itself. And what we call gravity might simply be objects following curves through warped space-time. F equals gm1m2 over r squared. This equation helped humanity understand how gravity controls planets, stars, moons, and galaxies. Without gravity, the universe as we know it could not exist. Stars would never form. Planets would never orbit. Galaxies would drift apart into darkness. And life on Earth would never have begun. Even your own body depends on gravity every second. Your muscles, your bones, your balance. Astronauts living in space for long periods actually become weaker because their bodies are no longer experiencing Earth's normal gravity. Bones lose density, muscles shrink. The human body itself begins changing, which shows something incredible. Gravity is not just part of Earth, it's part of you. According to modern physics, gravity suddenly disappearing is almost impossible. Gravity is connected to the fabric of the universe itself. To completely turn it off would require breaking the laws of reality, and yet, thinking about impossible situations like this reveals something fascinating. Most people never notice gravity because it feels permanent, silent, invisible. We wake up every morning expecting the ground beneath us to remain stable. We trust gravity without even thinking about it, but the truth is, our entire civilization depends on invisible forces we barely understand. Without gravity, there would be no oceans, no atmosphere, no cities, no life. Earth itself would become just another lifeless rock drifting through space. And perhaps that's the strangest part of all. One invisible force, quietly holding together everything we have ever known. The sky above you, the ground beneath you, the air inside your lungs, even the stars moving across the night sky. Gravity controls all of it, every second, without asking for attention, without making a sound. And maybe that's why we rarely think about it. Because the most important things in the universe are often the ones we cannot see. So the next time you walk outside, pause for a moment. Feel your feet touching the ground. Look up at the sky, and remember, you are standing on a planet moving through space at incredible speed, held together by one invisible force, a force so powerful that if it vanished for only 5 seconds, our world would never recover. And somewhere out there in the universe, gravity is doing the exact same thing right now, holding stars together, shaping galaxies, bending light itself, quietly controlling the structure of reality, the invisible architect of the cosmos, always there, even when we forget it exists.